person that's having the most fun is winning. And the other one is when you live intentionally, nothing is random. You can ask the best question that unlocks more questions, and then it's like all of a sudden, like your mind, your life, your everything, like you can tap into your subconscious in ways that most people never have access to if you just start with asking really good questions.
As you can see on the shirt, just grow. I'm super excited about today's podcast guest, as we're really going deep on the unleashed side of the podcast, because I feel like a lot of individuals out there are just getting tapped in. And so we're gonna go a little deeper into what tapped in means. I just came out with that. That just came in. And at the end of the day, I think we all want to just grow. So I have the special guest that's here in the Maricopa County, Arizona area. Came to our in-person podcast studio to vibe out. We just got done having some tea time with Melissa Salazar, my beautiful wife. Thanks to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring the show, for all the technology we have. So let's change the camera angle. Let's bring the guy in and let's vibe out, because I'm super excited. We have the one and only Nico. What's up? So Nico, mentor for self-healing, spiritual entrepreneur, getting into live podcasting, just to add value to people big time. I mean, we connected on Instagram and I saw that and it was just like, you look familiar. And then like, we kind of just watch each other's stories, see each other's stuff. And I'm like, Nico, I got to get you on the podcast, bro. Like, let's vibe out. Let's have some fun, dude. And I think there's nothing more intimate to, like, you know, it's one thing to go to a studio, but to come to a personal residence, come to like come to my house, man. Let's vibe.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for having me, man.
Of course.
It's an honor. I love just being around awesome people and having good conversations. Amen. That's what lights me up. So,
amen, bro. Amen. And you know, it's interesting. We were talking right before getting on the podcast and starting to record, and it was like just the knowing that there's like, and sometimes it's not even knowing. Sometimes it's just a feeling. Like you just feel a vibe for someone. You're like, we're gonna eventually, I don't know what, podcast, meetup, coffee, whatever it is, but here we are, dude. And I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, right back at you. But dude, it's just an energy, man, and you feel it. Everything is energy, whether you want to believe that or not. It's true.
It is, and I think that a lot of individuals out there, you know, we have a lot of agents, a lot of real estate professionals, mortgage professionals that watch the show, and you know, I don't know how much, you know, and comment below, and we would love your feedback. They get into the energy side of their business, right, and thinking about what that means to them, and going deeper into, like, right before we got on, we did a little prayer, practicing our gratitude, you know, thanking the man upstairs before we started to vibe out. And I think that let's kind of just segue into that a little bit. And of course, we'll get into your story, who you are. Links are down below. They can follow you. But let's get a little bit into that kind of like concept.
Yeah, of intention setting.
And also just like energy.
Dude, like, intentions are everything.
Yeah.
When you live intentionally, nothing is random. Shout out Jesse Ray of Growth House that dropped that bomb on me like a year ago.
Let's go.
But like, the only reason any of us are here is because the provider, God.
Yes.
You know, just that's is what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not share gratitude with that and just believe in that? I'm just grateful for another day. I woke up today and I was just like, damn, God bless me with another day. Like,
let's go. I love that.
So, and it's just like make it into practice too. Cause like a lot of the things that I always teach is that I have this concept called the woo and the do.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's definitely a side for like the spiritual side of things. And I lean on that a lot, but there's also like, we live in this physical world and it's strategy, it's social media, it's business, it's systems, like all things. And it's like, when you can marry the two, it's such a beautiful place to be, because then it's like you're operating on both planes.
I love that.
I think you really just gotta like start with the intentions of who you need to give gratitude and credit to.
Yes,
we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And we're all just one, just like what we're talking about.
Amen. I love that. And to go deeper into that, and also just like setting intentions, I feel like a lot of individuals forget. And it came to me a couple times, put it on my story. So it's just like, just being grateful to just wake up. Like, you're here another day, you're here for another opportunity, like maximize that opportunity. Be grateful for the things that you have to get where you want to go, and set the intentions. It makes a lot of sense from the perspective of setting the intentions, praying, and then, oh, man, what did you say? It was so profound. You said something about in the intention side, and
having fun.
Yeah, having fun.
Yeah, the person that's having the most fun is winning.
I love that.
And the other one is when you live intentionally, nothing is random.
Ooh,
That's bars right there. Someone needs to
huge.
drop a album based on that.
You can, because I feel like so many people, and I've been talking about this concept for a long time. It's like life happens for you or life happens to you. And I think a lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I just got a ticket. This happened to me and that happened to me. But if you stop thinking about this happened to me and it happened for me, I feel like that's when you could really be able to look at things from a perspective of like, why? What do I need to learn from this ticket or this car breaking down or being late to this meeting? And what can I do to change? Do I need to pray? Do I need to be more intentional? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to be in more gratitude for my life because I did wake up today? Those are things that come up for me.
Yeah.
What comes up for you?
And it's always like kind of what I was saying too. It's like always there's woo questions and there's do questions. So it's like, yeah, what's the internal world? What do I need to learn? What's the lesson? But then it's like, okay, well, if it's speeding, then I was like, all right, well, the do side is like actually slow down. Like take your foot off the gas.
I like that. I like that.
You know, so I think it's always on both sides. And I'm just such a big advocate of questions too.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
questions can change your life.
Amen.
Like, and it all like one of my favorite questions that we're on another coaching call today. And I always lately I've been asking like, what's the best question for you right now? Because if you can ask the best question, that unlocks more questions. And then it's like all of a sudden, like your mind, your life, your everything, like you can tap into your subconscious in ways that most people never have access to. If you just start with asking really good questions.
Ooh, I like that.
You can have anything that you want in the way that you want it if you're willing to ask the right question.
Wow. Wow. I think what resonates for me, and I want to get feedback from the viewers and listeners, is that when you set those intentions and you are intentional about what you're doing, and then you really just like ask, like get past self and like ask, like just ask, like whatever, whether you're praying to ask or angels, Lord, whatever you believe in, universe, like just ask. You know, I need guidance. I need help. Send me a sign. And it could be something as simple as like a butterfly or like a bird coming in, and you're like, what? Like, and I think people are so caught up, and that's why I wanted to have you on to go deeper in a concept that I don't think a lot of people really can actually or really conceptualize. That like signs are as simple as like a number, could be a bird, could be a butterfly, could just be something. And you just got to get past all the technology and all the distractions, because a lot of them out there, to then just get to self, and like the signs are there.
Yeah, they're there if you're paying attention.
I've been paying attention, and I'll just give for the viewers and listeners a concept: numbers. I see numbers in 777, 747, 727, and I'll be doing something, and I'll look at the number like, oh, I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I see it, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, we literally last night went to go pick up a door for one of our flips. And my wife's like, oh, we need to get a tape measure. And so we walk down the aisle with all these doors. And then I'm like, look over. And then there's the door and the tape measure sitting right next to it. Here's our tape measure and the door. We didn't even have to go find the tape measure. She already set the intention and it was there. It's like getting a parking spot. Like, oh, I want to get a parking spot in the front. You know,
I truly believe energy breaks the rule.
I like that.
Because it's like, yeah, let's just say from like a sales standpoint.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta dial 100 calls a day.
Mm-hmm.
But if your energy's on point, like you can just have random shit that just happens.
Yeah.
Like one of my clients, like he's actually a music artist.
Okay.
And he's been wanting to like really pop off, and like he's just so random, but he got a gig where he's gonna be performing in front of 50 people.
Wow.
And it wasn't like he called 50 different venues or connected with all these different people. It just like came out of nowhere.
Dude.
Energy breaks the rules.
100%. I love that. And that's also kind of on the Lift Off agent side that sponsors the show. It's a lot more of an energy as far as like people find us. And like we don't have, and I'll be honest, we don't have the standard operating procedures and KPI and the huge sales staff and all the ads running and all the things. But the people that are supposed to find us. And we have like a 98% retention rate, and they're all family and they love us. And then like the top of the top work with us. They're like, I have like the top agent in California, and then like had a meeting today, and like, oh, because of Carrie Nichols, like that's how we found you. We're gonna go talk to like luxury presidents of their company, and like I'll call them next week, or they'll probably sign up beforehand. And it just is.
It is. And then when you add like the do side of things, then you just have an unfair advantage that most people don't have.
I like that. Let's talk a little bit about that woo do thing, so people can kind of get a concept of what it means, and then potentially practically put it in action themselves.
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
it's super smart for our listeners.
I've kind of broken it down, and this is like all my teachings, whether that's like through our master classes or our courses or coaching programs.
Okay.
But it's basically 4 things. One, I truly believe this is where it starts too, because you're always operating from your subconscious that controls
True.
99% of our life. And so what happens is most of us are operating from old paradigms and patterns that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Going through traumas or just like your belief systems, how you were raised. So we all have these blocks, subconscious and energetic blocks, and that's why it's hard for some people to get here. And the reason that like I'm here and like where I'm at this point is because like I've cleared a lot of that stuff through a lot of different modalities. But it's really important to like clear that stuff out, because until you clear that stuff out, it's kind of like you keep on hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
So it's important to like really remove those type of blocks. Once you're there, then it is about the intention setting and gaining clarity and understanding like your values. That's such a big one for me, because like what we do a lot is like help people with their visions and helping them understand what they want and what they like truly desire.
I love that,
because most people don't know what they want. I ask that question all the time, and most people are like, what? And it's because they don't know who they are.
Yes.
Because they don't know what they value.
Yes.
So once you figure out your values, life becomes a lot more clear.
Yeah.
And then from there, on the do side, so that's like the first 2 steps.
Okay.
And that's on the woo side.
Got it.
The do side, in my opinion, is really putting together systems.
Okay.
Because systems create consistency. If you're having any challenges being consistent in your life, it probably means that you don't have a system around it. I hear it all the time. People saying like, oh, like even like for an example, this one girl like DM me back today and says like, oh, I'm so bad at like responding to DMs. I was like, probably because you don't have a system.
Yeah.
If you had a system, you'd probably like you would have all that. You would have responses right away.
And you're telling yourself that.
Well, that's yeah. Then we swing back onto the woo side for that one. But it's like if you're having trouble meditating every day, it's probably because you don't have a system. So systems are there to create consistency and build habits. And then once they become a habit, then it's a lot easier to get there.
Ooh.
And then in my personal opinion as well, I think just in today's day and age, is the last part of the do side is social media. Because there's it's so much ridiculous opportunity out there right now. It's insane. Like I've seen people just like popping off left and right as they just like know. One is like volume.
Yeah.
That we were talking about, just being a run and gun content creator is one of your most valuable assets right now. If you have the ability to, because it's easier than ever to create content right now.
Easy.
You take like, I could probably create 3 different posts on the content that we've created since I've been here for like 45 minutes.
Easy.
Yeah. Right. Because it's you record and you have like a 5 to 7 second reel.
Yeah.
And then you just direct people to the caption, and then they read your caption.
Yeah.
So, and then like if you just create volume with that, like have a very high likelihood of starting to grow. But then if you tap into the energetic side of things of content, like what we're talking about in the kitchen, like, then that's a game changer, because like people will just show up and be like, I have to be around this person because you make me feel good. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's all anybody wants.
That's
they
all
just
it is.
want them to feel good.
That's all it is.
So
if you agree, comment below.
Yeah. So like tap into the energetic side of things of creating content, but also just like the strategy side of content is just game changer. And that's kind of how we approach things.
Wow. I really like that a lot. And just to kind of touch a little bit on the thought process of people really just don't know what they want. And I feel like a big portion of that is because the powers of be likes to keep people sidetracked. And the more that you're sidetracked and you're not focused, and there's the text message, there's the got to get to work, there's the kids, there's the all the things. That's why I love having time for self first thing in the morning before anything and anyone, to then do the Wim Hof, to do the red light therapy, to go to the gym, to practice gratitude, to meditate, to pray, to do all the things, to then be ready to set the intentions and go throughout the day.
Amen, dude. Like you have to. Like I just don't understand how you can't not.
Yeah.
And like, yes, I want to touch on that too, is like the distraction.
Yes.
We live in a world of distraction. There's more options than ever before. I think they said that like, this was crazy. They said that if you're walking down a grocery aisle, you have over, I forget the number, I want to say it's like 36,000 different brands that are trying to pull your attention.
Oh my God, I believe it.
That's in a grocery aisle. Imagine 5 minutes on social media.
Yeah.
We are more distracted than ever, and that's why it's absolutely essential and imperative for you to know what you want more than ever. Because the reason that it's so imperative to know what you want and know who you are, know who you're becoming. Because if you don't, then you're just going to be swayed by everybody that's trying to pull your attention. And there's literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people, brands that are trying to pull your attention. And they don't have
100.
like, if you have to understand too, is like they don't have your best interest in heart.
They don't.
So like
They don't.
you're the only one that can really you rely on. And the only way you can really rely on yourself is you get clear with who you are, what you want.
I love it.
Because otherwise you're just, as one of my mentors said, like you're a fart in the wind.
No, that actually adds a lot of clarity to kind of, from what you said to where you went with that. If you're not intentional and you don't know what you want and you're getting pulled just in a grocery aisle in so many different directions, the first thing that resonates with me is that, for the viewers and listeners, give you contrast. If, say, I want to lose weight, or right now I'm gaining weight and I'm on a clean bulk cycle, and I go to the grocery store and I track everything on my fitness pal, and I know I'm supposed to have 40%, 40% is supposed to be carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein, and I have 2,600 calories a day I can eat, right? So when I go to the grocery store, I'm looking specifically for things that fit within the macros, because I'm focused on the intention to get on stage to be able to do figure competition or bodybuilding. So now I'm not sidetracked because of the store or all the brands, because I know specifically what I'm looking for to achieve who I'm becoming.
You're able to be decisive.
Yes.
And so let me share this one with you.
Let's go.
This one, this changed my whole perspective.
All right.
So there's a guy sitting on the fence. Okay. The devil comes up to him and says, which side of the fence are you going to pick? One side was heaven, one side was hell.
Got it.
The guy's like, I don't know. I'm still deciding.
Yeah.
Devil's like, all right, cool. I'll be back. Devil comes back a little bit later. He's like, all right, which side? He's like, haven't made a decision yet. He's like, cool, come with me. And the guy's like, what? What do you mean? Devil's like, yeah, exactly. The fence is mine. I was like, damn.
Wow.
And I like, it just comes back to that, is like, being decisive is one of your most valuable assets. And it's like, again, it's knowing what you want, but it's also deciding on what you want. Like a lot of times you really don't know what you want until you experience it.
Yeah.
But I think this, like, I don't know what I want, it just gives you an alibi to like say like, oh, this isn't where I want to be because I didn't know what I wanted. Well, so like just decide and then go after something. There's something so romantic about commitment.
Yeah.
Whether that's to a partner, to like God, to a business, to a vision, to your mission. Like that's where it's at.
It is.
And so it's just like, make that commitment. But the thing is like, it's also not a life sentence. Like I have a mentor that shared this line with me. He said, I reserve the right to change my mind at any time.
Let's go.
Right. So it's like, just because you decide that you want to start this business or but it's like, go all in.
Yeah.
Like there's like, go all in. Go all in or don't do it at all.
I love that.
Like I don't vibe with this like half-hearted soft yeses, slow no's.
Yes. 100%. I think a lot of people out there who's viewing and listening right now really needs to come to terms with that, because a lot of individuals, it's either the victim, why me, can't believe this happened to me, but no, it happened for you. And it's to keep beating you up until you say, this is what I want. And the biggest thing that I can relate to this subject matter for anyone who's viewing and listening out there is that when you're a kid, okay, you know exactly what you want, that lollipop. Yeah. You want that red wagon. You want that monster truck, right? At what point from us being children to becoming adults do we forget that we have a choice and accept the realities that we live? And it's like, if it's a choice, then where did you stop making those choices? And I remember so one of my accomplishments last year was, one of my dream cars was Nissan GTR. And I saw a guy and he was just like, oh yeah, I remember I wanted one of those and this and the other thing. And I'm like, what happened? Oh, life and circumstances and this and that. So you gave up the experience of being able to have that and share with other people because you got married and have kids and circumstances and stuff changed, which is fine. You know, he still knows what he wants. He's moving a different direction, but it's just like, a lot of people don't even do that. A lot of people just give up and they just accept. And then they're just like fixing the car, hate the job. They're with the spouse. God bless my mom. You know, if she's listening, I love you. I love you too, Joseph. I love you too, Joseph. But come on, they're not married. You know, they're just doing. They're not. There's no woo. Just do.
Well, here's the other thing too, and only reason I speak on all this stuff so passionately is because I was lost for so long.
Let's get into that.
No clue on what I wanted
Yeah.
because I didn't know who I was. Because I didn't take the time to figure out who I was and what I valued.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I truly believe that I'm very intentional about the words that I use because the words that you say are just a reflection of your thoughts.
I like that.
And it's a lot easier to control your words than it is to control your thoughts.
I like that.
I even got a tattoo. It says abracadabra. It means in Hebrew, as I speak, I create.
Ooh.
But here's the thing is that life is hard.
Yeah.
I just say, I gave all that context to say like, life is challenging.
It is.
But you get to choose where you have the challenge, right? You can have it on the front side or the back side. Like it's not easy to wake up every day. It's challenging to wake up early every day and go to the gym and do all the things.
Yeah.
It's challenging to start the business and stay consistent when clients aren't coming in. All that is challenging.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll break through and you'll hit your goals and it'll be fulfilling and you'll like really get to where you want to be and all that kind of stuff. So that's challenging on the front end. Now, let's flip it. Okay, I'll decide not to wake up and work out and do the meditating and all that stuff and not start the business and not stay consistent and fall down when people tell me no and like, forget it, just quit, right? But then you're on the backside of your life and then you're like, damn, like even your guy was like, life happened.
Yeah.
All this stuff. And then you get to look back at life and you're like, holy shit, like I got all these regrets.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yes.
And so it's like, choose your challenge. And
I love that.
I choose to just, go through it, but also like really enjoy it too. Like do your, like, and I'm not perfect by any means. And I have to have these conversations with myself all the time.
Yeah.
Like enjoy this process, but like fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to get there. You're always going to be here.
Yes.
And so if you can't enjoy like the little wins, like that's why like I'm at such a good place when I'm just like excited about everything.
I love
excited about taking a dump, taking a shower, like get on a podcast, like little things that a meal. That way, like when a $100,000 payday comes through, it's like it's just another thing.
It's just another thing.
But if you're waiting for the $100,000 payday to get excited, then you're gonna hit this point where that's not enough.
Amen.
And then you get sucked into this life of more, which I think can be very dangerous because that's
dangerous.
What most people are living in these days. Like they get the car, it's not enough. Get more. I get the relationship, it's not enough. I start cheating on my partner. Like, and then that brings me back to the conversation about God. And like this is what really resonated with me is like most people are trying to fill a hole in their life with everything else except for God, because that's the only thing that can fill it.
Yeah.
Because there's a story at church I go to Impact.
Okay.
And he talked about like this was wild. So these wolves, they did this like kind of experiment, I guess, where they put a bunch of blood on this knife in the cold and they stuck it down in the snow, and knowing that these wolves were around there. And the wolf came around and started licking on the knife, and it was just like covered in frozen blood.
Yeah.
And it keeps licking, and eventually like it keeps licking until it gets to the blade. His tongue is so numb that he doesn't realize he's licking a blade, and he starts bleeding. He's licking his own blood, and then he eventually dies because he bleeds out.
Interesting.
And so that's what most people are doing.
Wow.
They're just more of everything but God. And it's just a dangerous pattern to be in.
Wow. I love that. That's so true. It's so true. You don't set those intentions and you're not intentional and you're just doing and you want more and you think the more is going to help you out. You're chasing a dopamine rush. And then at what point does that dopamine rush turn into who knows what? Drugs, addiction, alcohol, who knows what it is? Because, it's like I feel that all humans at one level or another have addictive personalities, and that addictive personality translate into either you hitting your goals, striving for more, going and doing those things that are going to light you up, and you're sharing your passion with everyone else and just feels amazing, or you're doing drugs and alcohol, or you're chasing more and trying to get the next thing, or I saw a post today, a buddy of mine, he's 6 years in sobriety, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what his next addiction is? CrossFit. right? He's in amazing shape. He's always at CrossFit. He's always doing the challenges, all the type of thing, because it's like one vice for another vice. And I'm not saying, there's good and bad and all the things, but it's just interesting concept to think about. So many people out there are just like, it's just a vice, drugs, alcohol, the next thing, whatever it is, which is good if it's a positive thing. I think on the negative side, you could really go down the rabbit hole to death, like you said. It's crazy. That's interesting. So people can relate to your story. Do you mind sharing a little bit of your story and kind of where you were and like how you evolved into like the Grow Now podcast, a live podcast? Links are down below. The coaching, the mentorship, all the things that you're doing to be to this enlightened state of just being and being grateful and just living it up, man. So,
well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm enlightened. I think Jesus is the one that's enlightened.
okay,
But
okay,
like,
I like it.
getting there.
Yeah,
But
love
yeah,
it.
it's been a journey, man.
Yeah.
I would say like really one of the biggest things that helped me a lot is just courage. Like
Mm,
courage to have the hard conversations, have the courage to start the business. Like
yeah,
be scared and do it anyways. And like what I was sharing with you, I started a podcast a few years ago, Just Grow Podcast, and I want to do it unique. I want
yeah,
to do it different, and I did it in live podcast format where we threw an event.
huge.
And like I can't tell you enough. Like I was definitely like I had my reservations around
Yeah.
it. I was like nervous. Like I always wanted to speak, but like
Mm-hmm.
every time I do speak, I'm nervous.
Like it's kind of somewhat natural
Yeah.
to a certain point.
But that's what I can just say that's like helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And like another big thing, I know I mentioned it to you, but I went to
Yeah.
an emotional intelligence workshop,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that forced me to like really address traumas that I went through that I had suppressed for a really long time, have hard conversations.
Yeah.
But once I just started getting the habit of like seeing the things that I was scared of and
Mm,
doing it, that's when like my life changed. Because I really
wow.
I think that I just have this like MO, like choose courage.
I love it.
Because it's like it comes back to like the whole, life is hard thing.
Yeah.
But like that's what's been really empowering for me.
Wow.
So like yeah, I don't know, like there's so many layers to my story. Was there
Mm-hmm.
anything in particular that you wanted me to dive into?
Just kind of like something that people could relate to as far as like a rock bottom moment, something that you were going through when you had like no direction. And was there a time and place where you kind of had like an aha moment? Was there an enlightenment time, a framework of like something that came up? Where you're like, oh my God, like this is the way, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, so I mean, as I started my entrepreneurial journey, I've been in it for like a little over 10 years.
Okay.
And so I started in the marketing space.
Got
And I
it.
just wanted like that, quote unquote freedom laptop lifestyle that
Yeah.
everyone seems to love these days. And there's a lot of value to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived that life for a while. It was cool. I was like, I was living with my parents for a while, driving
Mm-hmm.
Uber, and that was a really challenging period of my life.
Yeah.
But I got through it and like figured it out and started making money online and started making some decent money. And
Let's
that's
go.
when I moved to Arizona, and like a lot of things were opening up for me. That was about like 6, 7 years ago now.
Okay. Okay.
And then got to go travel to Europe and
Wow.
and went to like Greece and Italy and Spain and
Jeez,
all these
nice.
type of things.
Yeah.
And it was great. But when I got back from that trip, something just kind of like spoke to me. Like I like the marketing stuff, but
Yeah.
it just I don't know. It doesn't feel like super aligned. So I think that was like kind of the first tickle to be like, hey, I
Mm.
don't. I think there's something more that I like a lot. But I was still
Yeah.
like in marketing for a while. I created my own agencies, did a lot of paid advertising. I started working with some other agencies, running
Yeah.
some like very very big accounts.
Wow.
Like, which was a great experience. I got to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Because when you run paid advertising, and I know you guys do a lot of that as well. Is that correct? You guys run paid ads?
We're starting to get more into it 2024.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's really cool because you get to learn about people quickly. And like we had
Mm.
one client, ClickFunnels, that we were spending over $1 million a month.
Wow.
And like it's chaotic, but it's like
Mhm.
you get to learn about people very quickly when you're managing those type of ad
Yeah.
spends. And just like what makes drive, like we would make simple little changes in like
Mm.
the first 2 seconds of the video, and we would drop our cost per lead from $15 to $7 sometimes.
Wow.
So it's like you got to learn a lot, and I think that's such a powerful asset to learn
Yeah.
about people and just like understand people on a core level. I think that helps anybody with
Mhm.
anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was great. But again, like what I was saying, I went through this emotional intelligence workshop. I addressed some traumas that I had suppressed for like 20 years, and then just started having tough conversations. I ended a relationship that was
Mm.
actually going well. I again, I go on feelings a lot and my intuition, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, this isn't quite it. And so like, and then I'm like kind of like figuring out what I want to do with my career. And that's
Yeah.
when I like I said, I need to disconnect. I went to Utah by myself for a week,
Mm.
and I just got out in nature a lot. There's a lot of truth in nature, and that's really where this just grow comes from. It's like
Let's go. Let's go.
the trees have it figured out.
Yeah.
All they do is just grow every day.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
yeah, I started the podcast, and I was like, I want to do this unique and different. And that's when I hit up my homie Braxton. I was like, hey, what do you think about us sitting down, doing a conversation?
Yeah.
And then I have a bunch of people there too. He's like, that sounds sick. So we shot out a bunch of invites. My network was growing, and we had 70 people at the first one, and then everyone's asking when's the next one. And then we threw another one at the next one. And like people started flying. There's a person that flew in from UK to be at one of our events. We had 200 people at that one. And after like that third one, I had like a line of people I didn't know who they were waiting to talk to me. And when this all just started as an idea, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. And then at that time, I'm like, well, I think this is actually like more than just like a little thing, because we were just doing it in our apartment clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's actually like turn this up.
Let's go.
And so we transitioned to a live performance theater inside a Fashion Square Mall.
That's cool.
Like rented it out, like investing all this money into it. And then like I'm still working this advertising job.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting fired from that job because I'm putting so much intention into this a week before the event. But then the other thing, and I haven't even shared this with you, but like, so the whole time we're figuring out like, how do we monetize this?
Yeah.
Because at this point, like we have a lot of people there, but we're not monetizing. And so I actually had this idea about a month or two after the event where we had 200 people there.
Yeah.
I'm big on like visualization. And that comes from my baseball career, because like some crazy stuff happened with my baseball stuff, like where I would imagine myself hitting a walk-off home run off the 7 of the scoreboard, and the very first or the first pitch of the last inning, like that minute and detailed.
Wow.
And it happened.
Nice.
And so like that opened my eyes to like what's possible. And so I know the power of visualizing. I know the power of vision boards and like feeling stuff before you actually truly experience it.
Yeah.
So I had this idea. I was talking with my friend, and we're talking about vision boards. And then somehow we got on the thread of like videos. And we're like, what if we turned a vision board into a video?
I love it.
And so that's when the idea was birthed. We called them vision videos. And that's what we launched at that next event at the live performance theater. But I'm like, I'm petrified at that event, because I just gotten fired. I was investing all this money into this event that I thought I had.
Yeah.
Turns out I don't, because like that source was cut off.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I think we're launching an offer. It better work.
Yeah, let's go.
So I was like, all right, let's send it. And I didn't even know how I was going to pitch it. I've never pitched anything from stage. I had no clue what I was doing, but I had an idea. I had a bunch of people that believed in me.
Yeah.
And I had this video.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, well, let's show the video. Because anybody I've shown the video to, they're like in tears by the end of it. And it's my video. Imagine if it was their video.
Yeah.
Because it's custom. It's custom to the person. So like, I was like, all right, we'll show the video, and then we'll ask if people want one. That was my pitch.
Wow.
So we showed the video. It's like 15 minutes long. So it's like, it's extensive. It's not, and I'm thinking, are people going to pull out their phones and I'd be paying attention? Like I had all these like insecurities pop up. We showed it, and people go nuts.
Wow.
And we come back on stage after that, and I was like, yeah, so here's the idea. Like, we want to make these for you guys because we think it's really powerful. Who wants one? And we had like 120 people in the room, and like, boom, every hand raised.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I guess we got a business now. I was like, ah. And then we got 10 clients that week, and we got to work.
That's amazing, man. So just for viewers and listeners out there, I wanted to tie that into the show because of the fact that I want people to be able to relate to the fact that, maybe you're going and working at a job or something that you're doing that it's not aligned with your vision. One of our past episodes was Michael with Optimize. And so he also had similar working for corporate. It wasn't aligned with his vision. And you guys have to check out his episode. There's one part in the episode you'll have to listen or watch on YouTube. And he was driving down the road, and he had this vision that came up, and it was just this idea to get into like the Wim Hof, the breathing, and the stuff that now turned into his Optimize stuff. So just like you, and having this vision, and talk about how how the things and how the Lord and how the universe and how just everything works for you. How like you lost your job at that moment, backs against the wall, and it turned out to be amazing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like I've really been diving in my faith a lot more recently.
Okay.
Even within the last few weeks. Like
Wow.
I've really like I'm all in now.
I love it.
Like, and so I haven't had the same perspective as like when I launched the vision videos.
Okay. Okay.
But I also was like very like tapped in. I was kind of like I would say a little bit more like new age, like universe energy, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
I truly do believe like it's a higher power.
Yeah.
At the end
Yeah.
of
For
the day,
sure.
like I've felt that way and I've thought that way for several years now.
Yeah.
Um, but what was the question again?
I don't know. We're just vibing out. No, you were just giving me feedback based off what I was talking about, just recapping how you back was against the wall.
Back was against the wall. That's what I was going to mention. So yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing: is like God moves in mysterious ways, and I saw a post that I ended up recreating recently, and it was like, we have no idea on what God is protecting us from. Like the battles that He's fighting for us that we have never even experienced
or can conceptualize.
Because it's like, think about it with my story about back against the wall and stuff like that. Like that was all by design.
Yeah.
Like it had to go through that. He had to activate something into me where it's like, all right, it's go time.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was just kind of like an idea. I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like we'll kind of like go with it. But then he's like, all right, let's put some pressure on a little bit.
Yeah.
And say, here, go do it. Because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Once I got fired, I was like, all right, let's send it. Like we got no other options.
Yeah.
And so I just think like that's why I do my very best, and this is like how I choose to respond when people ask me how I am, is that life is blessing. Life is a blessing. Like everything. And I'm grateful for the highs and the lows. As much as like when you're in the muck of things and you're in the lows, it can be challenging to be grateful, and it sounds a lot better like when you're out of it and you're saying, I'm grateful for the highs and lows, because I do feel like I'm on some really good momentum right now, and things are I'm on a high vibration right now, and things are going really well. But I also know that like challenges are going to continue to come in my life. And I know like the challenges that I face up to this point, like they're going to pale in comparison to what I'm going to experience down the road. But I'm going to be a bigger, better person by then as well. But just understand that like, all the challenges, because honestly, I'll just be candid, like 2023 was a mess for me.
Wow.
I was just getting kicked in the face left and right in so many different ways. But I again, like after being through that, I'm like, I choose that it was a blessing. Because he was protecting me from certain things. He was teaching me certain things. He had to show me certain things. Had to show me how to deal with relationships a little bit better, how to be a higher level communicator. He's showing all these things that he could activate in me. So that I could continue to become my best self, so that when I do face these challenges down the road, I'll be able to handle them with more grace and ease. Because it's like, and it's cool, like getting, like I have a lot of really cool friends, and we're hanging out last night, and they're talking about how some wild business deal where they ended up raising a bunch of money, like $500,000, to invest into this company, and this company like completely screwed them over and basically just took the 500K. And it's just like a wild experience. But it's just like, okay, that's a big challenge. But like the people that are able to handle those type of challenges and move through them with more grace and ease, you're able to like you're able to navigate life easier. And I heard this a while back. It said like your ability to continue to go up levels will be directly proportionate to your ability to handle emotional stress, your capacity to handle more emotional stress. So it's like choose to take those as blessings, because those are what's shaping you. Growth is not comfortable. Growth is not easy. You hear all these people talking about growing and all this stuff.
Not easy.
But when you're actually in a true growth phase, it's tough.
It's tough.
And like you think about it, and this is why I come back to plants a lot and trees. But like you think about it, like what happens with a seed when you put it in the ground, and all of a sudden, like where the massive growth happens, it's an explosion. It's an implosion. Like the seed just like combusts. Like if a seed had feeling, I don't know if seed have feelings, but like that would not feel good.
Right? No.
Right? If you internally combusted, that would not feel good. But knowing that would actually make you grow.
Yeah.
And my mom sent me this one. She was talking about glow.
Shout out moms.
Mom's amazing. Shout out mom. She's listening. Think about glow sticks.
Okay.
Like they're dark until you break them. You have to break them for them to glow.
Yeah. I like that. Hey, you got to break down, no pressure, no diamonds. Like this morning, I was dying from after the gym because I'm growing. I'm like, oh, I'm hurting so good, but got to keep going. And then yesterday, my wife and I were going through a bunch of stuff with Fix and the Flip and then Lift Off. And speaking of ads, and working on a lot of SOPs this morning for one of our ads guys, and like a lot of pressure, and definitely feeling the pressure today for sure. Even before you got here, I'm just dealing with some stuff with the RZR. I got to go pick it up and got to go to our Flip and go pick up a trailer and go take it to the dumps and like all this stuff. And it's like, when you know what you want, and I know what I want, and it's not an everyday thing as far as where we want to go with Liftoff and the just possibility with this podcast, and then what my wife and I are doing together is so beautiful. And it's a lot of work, a lot of pressure, but I love it, dude.
And that's why you're successful, man.
Love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, just embrace it, enjoy it,
dude. It's like, all right, I'm 6. I could do about 16 hours straight, and then like last night I was getting frazzled, and like we had like a leak, and like there was this random line, there's a leak, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a bunch of water all over the place. And so my wife's calling the plumber, and the plumber's talking to me, and I'm getting frazzled because I'm like 16 hours in. I'm like, I can't even think straight, let alone turn off the water valve. So my wife goes and finds it and everything else, and we're good. So I like to know that threshold. I think a lot of people who's listening and viewing, like, what's your threshold? Do you know what your threshold is?
That's a really good point. Like, I deem that like your threshold and your capacity.
Yeah.
Because it's like once you go over your capacity and you like string yourself out too much, like that, like you can burn out. And I've been there.
I've been there.
And that's like, and that's why again I come back to like the woo and the do.
Yeah.
Because like if you get too far on the do side, you can burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And then just like, because that's actually how I would say like really kind of came up with this is like I was on the do side.
Yeah.
And I was just doing the marketing stuff,
mm-hmm,
and it burned me out. And then I swung back hard to the woo side, and I just was like meditating all day, not doing anything but like, my 5-hour morning routine and just like learning all the time. And like, and it was all for me. I had to go through those phases. Of course. But like if you swing too hard one side or the other, you're out of balance.
Big time.
And so it's really important to know your capacity.
Yeah.
And don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, 100%. No, and that's where like for anyone who's listening and viewing out there, entrepreneur side, like I love like Mondays, no meetings, all internal, and then you like ramp up. And then I love Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, full on 16 hours. Let's go hit it hard. And then half day Friday, and then take that half day Friday. And then like weekends is more family time and doing us, and then maybe projects around the house and other things. But you have like, there's entrepreneurs out there that say there's no such thing as balance. There is such thing as balance. Like you have to have it. Like I feel like the ecosystem we live in is, if it was out of balance, we wouldn't be even able to be alive. Like the fact that the temperature is what it is, and like the wind and the currents and all the things, like I feel like we just live in this ecosystem that if it wasn't balanced, then you're getting the natural disasters and the fires and all the craziness and the chaoticness. So I don't know, for what that's will, I personally believe that balance is so key.
It's an interesting conversation because it's like even what you explained with your week.
Yeah.
And I resonate. That's like almost like my week to a T. So that's cool.
Let's go.
Resonate.
Let's go.
It's like you have balance amongst the week.
Yeah.
You don't have balance within the days, which I like, because it's like, all internal on Mondays.
Yeah.
Then you go hard. So it's like you swing on it. Let's just come back to the woo and do. So it's like Monday's a woo day.
Yep.
Thursday through Friday are more Thursday.
Yeah.
Are more do days.
Yep.
And then Friday's kind of like a mismatch
of woo and do. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the weekend is more woo.
Yeah.
So I think it's like find whatever your system is, but like I eventually you'll come back to balance. Like, if you just, it's like almost revving the engine. You just keep on revving it. Eventually you gotta like let go.
Got to.
Otherwise your car's gonna explode.
Something's gonna break. Yeah. For sure.
So you'll eventually find balance. And I think this world is balanced. I mean, that's what it is. Like we talked about in the kitchen, like the masculine versus the feminine, the yin and the yang. So I've always said is like for every Hitler, there's a Gandhi.
Yeah, that's true.
And and life is duality. Because it's like, you think about it, it's like hustle, go, know what you want, go after what you want, but be present with the moment.
So true.
So it's like, there's no one answer. And
there's not.
And arguably speaking, there is no answers.
No.
It's just like,
it just is.
Dude, it just is.
It just is.
It just is.
It just is. And I feel like so many people get caught up in like how do I do it? And like, I need to know all the things, and it just is, and you just do, and it's just do. Like, there's nothing else to it. And I feel like so many people out there are like, man, like I want that million, I want that big business, I want this, I want that. Like, at least you know what you want, but you just got to do, and then you just keep moving forward. And I remember in my 20s, it was like I'm all over the place. I had no idea, no direction, all over the place. Oh, I'll just serve and work with anyone and everyone. And then eventually from the do, and then you overdo, and then you're out of balance, and then you fall on your face, and then you're like, oh, and then a sign comes like, oh, J Rockcliffe Realtors, 300, 450 agents. I'm gonna call 350 of them, see what's going on, right? In order to craft a solution based off our sponsors for Liftoff to then keep moving forward. And then it's crazy, dude. Life they'll take you on this crazy journey as long as you are just okay with just it is, and you just follow that just kind of like path. And it's not always straight, right? Sometimes left, you go right, you go up, you go down. But it's like, dude, if you enjoy it, it's like that's what they say, enjoy the process.
Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the
It's funny.
ride.
Like I would not say that I'm a musician by any means.
Yeah.
But I love music.
Okay.
And through that emotional intelligence program I went through,
Yeah.
Of course, you have we all did all these 90-day goals.
Yeah.
And one of the goals had to be a creative goal.
Ah.
And so I created a song. And
Really?
I actually had a friend like help me produce it. He has a studio and everything.
Yeah.
And I've gotten like into freestyle rapping. So
Okay.
like that's kind of my outlet for music. And
That's sick.
I've actually kind of felt called to write another song. I might go up to Sedona on Sunday and like just take the whole day to write a song.
Do it, bro.
It speaks to me so much, but it's funny that you say that because I was actually listening. I go back to this song a lot because it just speaks it's just a song for me.
Yeah.
But it's called Enjoy the Ride.
Enjoy the ride.
And the whole thing is like there's tons of ups, there's tons of downs, and it's like one of the lines in there is like the podcast is going to go worldwide.
Ooh.
But even if not, I'm still enjoying the ride. Because that was even a thing I heard like right as I was starting my podcast. I was listening to another guy that has a podcast, really inspired me.
Okay.
And he was like, the point to like doing your things is to like do the thing.
Yeah.
He's like the point to start a pod, like in my perspective, the point for me starting the podcast wasn't like, oh, I got to blow up and get this many downloads. And this is like, yes, that's all great. And I would love for that to happen. But it's like the point of starting the podcast and doing the podcast was like to do the podcast. Because like when I started that podcast, I was in a very challenging period of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And deep conversations about real stuff, it fills my heart.
Yeah.
And I feel so fulfilled because I have this deep yearning to connect and share. I love it. I absolutely love it.
There's a podcast.
And so like that's why I started my podcast. So many people ask me like, ask me podcast advice. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm the guy to give you podcast advice.
Yeah.
Because I've done it so different than most people.
Yeah.
But it's like I always ask that question, and you asked it earlier, and it's one of my favorite questions. Why? Like, why do you want to start a podcast? Like, get really clear on that. Or why are you doing anything you're doing? Why do you still want to start the business? Why do you want to relate? Why?
Yeah.
And once you ask that question more, and you get to the heart of matters, then things become a lot more simple and clear, and then you're like can be more decisive.
Yeah.
Again.
And the podcast is a part of your doing, and then the Woo Do in that segment brought you to new guests, new possibilities, new opportunities, new things coming up, and then it would just started to turn into so much more. I mean, it's a journey that you're on that just unraveled into what it unraveled to. Just like for everyone who's viewing and listening, like we've never met each other in person, and like things came up where now like you're going to Sedona this weekend to go write a song, like. And because of something that I said, because you're just doing, and here you are. Now you're gonna go woo and just go write your song, bro. And I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, life's crazy, man.
It is, man. It's definitely an interesting. I feel like as you progressively, and I think there's something to be said from the 20s to the 30s, and I'm not even in 40s yet, but there's something to be said in the cycle of life, and then how you start to see things differently and become more mature, and then that coupled with going to church and religion. And then I just feel this energetic pull with this whole kind of church, universe, God, Gaia, whatever you want to say. It's just like Mother Earth. It's like, it's this, I'm excited, dude. I feel like 2024 and beyond is going to be, we're going to see a completely different playing field from what we saw like in the 90s, 95 to 2000s to like now getting into 2024 and beyond. It's going to be like, it's not even the same.
Well, one other thing I want to share too, I have some new mentors in like the energy space.
Ooh.
And it's really exciting because I'm constantly investing in myself.
I could tell.
And
I don't know how many mentors you have. I've heard of like 10 so far.
It's fun. I just love learning.
Yeah.
I've fallen in love with becoming the best version of myself.
Amen.
And enjoying that process.
Yeah.
It's like, why not?
Yeah.
And also, like, I think that's why I love the podcast as well too, is like I'm literally like having a coaching session every time I get to sit down with an awesome person. I get to learn some stuff, and it's recorded. I get to go back to it. I listen to all my podcast episodes.
You hearing this? You hearing this? Like, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the people that I was investing into were definitely more on like the masculine business structure systems, one avatar, like a lot of rules, a lot of confinement, it felt like. And you know, my offer is definitely a little bit more on the spiritual side.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, why don't I like start kind of breaking out and find some different type of mentors that are in that space? And so I started looking into it, and I was like trying to find male mentors, but I couldn't really find too many because I just started finding like all these females
There's a lot
teaching energy, and I'm like, all right. So I started like investing in like master classes and different like programs and stuff like that. It's funny because I get on and like it's just a bunch of women and me. And this one gal, I actually have her on my podcast tomorrow. I'm really excited about.
Let's go.
Shout out Lauren of Love. She's incredible.
Go, Lauren.
It's funny. I got on her master class. She's like, all my ladies and one brother. But the reason I brought that up is like I was listening to one of my other mentors. She's incredible too. Her name's Andrea Crowder.
Okay.
Shout out Andrea. Have her booked on the podcast too.
Let's go.
And she was on a podcast with this other gal, Allison Berg. I don't have a connection with her yet, but she seems so tapped in. And this podcast episode of theirs, they were talking about it's really important to know energetically where the world is, where the world's been, and where the world's going.
Yes.
And so from an energetic standpoint, what she was saying is 2023 was the year of like uncovering and discovering like the darkness. And I sure
believe it.
You felt that. Like,
I
feel
it.
Like everybody. I made this. I did a solo podcast episode called "Life Is Messy," and just kind of shared a little bit of like the emotions that I experienced in this last year. And I've had a fair amount of people that reach out like that resonated deeply.
Wow.
And I just heard a lot of people that were like, 2023 was a mess.
It was.
And I feel like people resonate with that a lot. But that coming back to that conversation, it's like that was 2023 year was like the year of uncovering, leaning into the darkness, really figuring out who we were and figuring out all that. But what they're saying is 2024, it's the year of abundance. Like it's go time. Let's get it.
I'm feeling it.
And then 2025 is the year of enlightenment. So that's when people are really going to start tapping into this. And I say all this because I think it's exactly what you're saying. Like, the rules are changing. Like life is different. Like what we knew is never going to be the same.
Never.
And it's evolving quick. And it's exciting. And then the other thing I'll share too, that this has just got me on a vibe. So are you a baseball fan by any chance?
I watch a little bit, but not as much as my wife. She likes baseball more than me.
Do you happen to know Ken Griffey Jr.?
Of course.
So Ken Griffey Jr., what number was he? Do you remember?
I'm getting something like 7 something.
24.
24 way off.
Year 24.
Oh my
2024. Time to swing for the fences, baby.
God. Let's go.
Let's go.
I love that, dude.
So I'm excited.
I love that.
I think this energy, like I've already experienced it. Like, we threw our first event in January, and it was just a vibe, dude. It felt so good. Like the energy was just right. We have our next one on February 2nd.
Wow.
I'm really excited for it with my buddy. Really amazing human being. His name's Ryan Tamita. He's built out this community called Middle Finger Mantras. It's a men's group. It's sick,
the name is sick.
But he's really helping men like process things, and I'm sure you relate to this as well. Like we have our challenges,
of course,
just as women have their challenges.
Yeah,
men. It's an interesting time to be a man right now.
Yeah.
So he's really doing a lot of healing. He's about to launch his coaching offer. But I went to his first retreat. We did this. It was a woo and do thing. Like we would get boxing gloves on and go hand to hand, and then next thing you know, we're doing breath work and meditating.
That's sick.
And so it's a really beautiful thing. We're gonna on that podcast we're gonna talk about a lot about that, like what it means to be a man, what it's like being a man.
Yeah.
How you can support a man, how we can live more cohesively with men and women, because I think we're all going through our certain set of challenges. We're also going to talk about like friendship. What does that mean? How do you really actually show up as a friend? Because I think there's different stages and levels of friendship, and also
Definitely.
like how to navigate relationships as like this world is evolving and moving so much. It's like and relationships are a big thing. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you evolve through them? So
I love that.
yeah, I was just reflecting on that recently. I just feel like this year has already been a vibe.
Oh
And
my God.
we're like, what, 17 days in?
17 days, and I feel like it's already been like a year. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
crazy.
here for it. I'm excited.
I am too. And I feel like anyone who's viewing and listening and watching, you and us putting this vibe out there, we're all a part of it. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a segment of individuals that are going to help move this forward. And I'm excited for it. And luckily for me, I grew up with women. And so I'm probably a little bit more in touch with my feminine side. So my wife said she's like a little bit more on the masculine side. So we have an interesting dynamic of give and take, but it works. And I think a lot of men are going to get more into that feminine side to understand that it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel things, right? Like we don't always have to be this macho man or be in the gym with all these tattoos and muscles and all the things, which is cool. I have those, but it's not an ego complex thing. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm curious to see how it's all going to unfold, because I feel like a lot of women, that's why they are the ones a part of the healing practices, because they're nurturers. They nurture, they serve, they love, they support. So yeah, I'm ready, dude.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah,
I'm
like
ready.
to that point, the whole masculine feminine conversation. Like I had one guy that he came to our last event, and very masculine dude. And like when he came, we did breath work beforehand. We always set the stage
Yeah.
for our events. We have uh the last one we had my friend Lindsay Bell. She's an incredible human being. She did our breath work, centered everybody,
Let's
like
go.
really got us grounded. And then the next one we're gonna have Sam Harper. She does sound healing.
Ooh,
So that's gonna be good. And it was
beautiful.
just interesting. Like he came up to me after the event. He's like, dude, like I've never like thought about this stuff, or like this is crazy, but like it feels right, because it's like I've always been the macho man. He's got a bunch of tattoos and he went to prison and like all these things, but he's like, the
Yeah.
world's changing. It's okay, and it's like I have a strong vision. Do you mind if I share
Let's
it?
go.
So I have this big vision that we're gonna do a podcast event at Chase Field
Wow.
in downtown Phoenix.
That's
I had a
huge.
friend that challenged me to like, what's your vision? And I was like, stadium event. And it was at a holiday party. And then all of a sudden we're talking about like vision. I got like 6 guys surrounding me, like, hey, we can do this. We have a plug at BetterHelp. We can partner them in. We can like set the date, like all these things. So it's amazing to be around those type of people. But like, I truly believe that I'm going to be one of the more influential people to bridge the gap from the feminine to the masculine. I do side with you about that. I would say that I have leaned a little bit more on the feminine side.
Yeah, me too.
But I think like that's so beautiful because I'm able to like connect the gap.
You paint your toes too? My wife and I get our toes done, and I was like, "Does it cost anything extra to get your toes painted, or is it cheaper?" Like, oh, it's the same price. Well, then paint them. Why not? No, I love that, man. And I didn't even, and we haven't even, for the record, like we didn't even plan that, nor was that even something that was to come up. That was something that like just I felt, so I said, and then it was already something in your knowing.
Yeah.
And you're already going in that direction, which is freaking awesome, dude. And that's where I feel like, just full transparency on my side, the doing, the lift off, the marketing agency, the podcast, like that's cool. And it's starting to show something else that I'm really excited to explore more in. And I know that I have a mission and a vision and a goal for what we're doing at Liftoff, and I really want to execute that. And I really want to go deeper, and in the spiritual side, and just meeting more individuals like yourself. And that's where this podcast is starting to evolve. And I hope everyone who's listening and viewing, this is a very deep, intense hour-plus episode of just like, it's going down the rabbit hole on some stuff, and some stuff you guys probably can relate to. And hopefully everyone can be like, whoa, like this is different. Like, and that's what I wanted to do. That's why we said the real estate versus technology unleashed. And so you're the third guest so far we've had in person here that's been in this subject matter, which is like super, super cool. Like, yeah, super cool. And I think that the coolest thing is, and one thing that I'm committed to, is being the macho man, having the tattoos, having the supercar, having nice things, but then been flipping the script on like the spiritual, deeper, feminine men, like being more balanced and like show like, oh, like this is what people have seen, and they think it comes with this type of ego or this type of stigma. Like you got to be a macho man to have these things, or you got to be this like whatever girl to have these things. Like no, it just is. And I enjoy things, and so I get to enjoy the things and also be, and then love and serve, and why not?
We're all the same.
We're all the same.
It's so amazing to see people when they activate.
I love this. Nico, how are we closing out, man? What do you want to leave for their viewers and listeners?
Well, I mean, probably the first way I want to just say that I'm thankful and I'm grateful for you. Like, I'm not kidding you, dude. Like, this is why I. There's somebody asked me, like, or maybe it wasn't asked me, but like, when I started my podcast, I thought about like, if I can just have dope conversations with cool people and I can make a lot of money doing that, like, sign me up. That's all I want to do. If I could just talk and have conversations,
Let's go.
I'm for it.
Yeah,
and that's really what I'm really working hard towards. Is like just being podcasts, doing speaking, and building relationships. Like,
that's huge.
Because then that's when everything grows, and that's when our message and our impact can really.
So life's about.
Yeah. So I do not take it lightly that you invite me on your podcast. I love doing it in person. It's just fuels me up so much. So just wanted to express my gratitude.
Thank you so much.
So one thing, I actually prepared a little thing as I'm getting on more podcasts. I realized like, how can I really help the audience as much as possible? So I prepared a page, and if you go to justgrowpodcast.com/Norman, it'll take you to like, it has all the information about our podcast and events and stuff like that. But in addition to that, I have this 9-minute breath work and visualization audio that a lot of our clients have been enjoying. And it's just 9 minutes. And it's a really good way to start the day.
Wow.
So it takes you, it calms your nervous system, kind of what we did before, the intentionality, setting the prayer. But it really calms your nervous system. And I think that's one thing that like people don't really know how to explain it, but that's something everyone's yearning for, is a calm nervous system, because most people are so just fried right now.
Yeah.
And so, and I have longer ones, even to the like 20 and 30 minute ones, but I found that people really enjoy the shorter ones. So it's a nice little audio. You can go in there and download it, and that's kind of my gift to the audience. And I thank you for having me on.
Wow. I love that, and I feel like it's very admirable of you to not so much. They could figure all the things that you do, and I highly recommend to follow, connect, and the whole nine. And more importantly, I love that you're just giving, and that's where I think the magic happens, when you just give and there's no intention to receive, and let them go on their own journeys to figure out whatever they need to figure out to get to where they need to go to achieve what they want to achieve, and all the things, man. But no, I'm very grateful for you as well. We see each other online from time to time, and it's been very grateful to have someone like, I definitely do believe in you when you say that like the stadium thing's gonna happen, and like that's huge. And it just, for me, it's nice to connect with genuine great people that, beyond an Instagram handle, beyond how many followers, how many downloads, how many views, how big the audience was that you were in front of, you're a human being first. And the fact that we could just be together and just experience a be moment is amazing, because there is a lot of distractions and a lot of egotistical levels of, oh, because of this or because of that or whatever. And it's just nice to just take it all down. And I'll leave a quick story. And this is all coming from love. And I think that this is where the doing is a problem right now. Peace Morby's out here, and I came out here. I had no idea who he was. And my wife and I were checking some of his stuff out. And the only reason why I even know who the guy was is because I had a strategy session. And in the strategy session, this lady's like, "Do you know Peace Morby? Like, you are like very much like alike. You need to like, I could see you guys vibing out, whatever else." So then I followed him. Oh, okay, yeah, he's a cool dude. Didn't know about his big ecosystem and all of his programs, all of his stuff. Sent him a DM, sent him a direct message. I was just like, "What's up, dude?" Video message, love my video. "What's up, dude? I'm out in Arizona, just moved out here. I got a 5-year-old." At that time, she was like 3, and he has a couple kids. I thought, get the kids together, have some fun, whatever, vibe out. He saw it, he's seen it. And then I said something else again, and it was just like crickets. And I know he's very busy. I get it. And, there's gates and there's processes and there's all the things. But I just feel like the day and the age of people being bigger than life itself is a thing in the past. And we all deserve to live long, prosper, treat everyone the same. And your bank account, your IG followers, arbitrary.
Yeah. Well, he's got a big team.
He does.
I've met him. Actually, a really wild story. Goes beyond the scope of this.
You're getting some bonus content out here before we close out.
But yeah, dude, like it's a balance.
It is,
right? Because it's like we want to be responding to the DMs and all that, but it's also like that can be very draining. So I can understand like where you're coming from, but
that's
I
true.
Understand like he's definitely like building a big operation, and I know a lot of people in his community, and he really is a genuine human being.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Pace, I believe is how you say it.
Yeah, Pace.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying peace, but I think the peace sign on the hat that he always has, but Pace. Yeah.
And then one last thing I'd love to leave off too. I do have an ask.
Okay.
This is always my ask, and it was interesting because I've had challenges at asking. I'm a giver in nature, and I have a challenges at asking. But
I can relate.
I had a mentor that shared. I asked him, I was like, "How to become a good asker?" He's like, "Have your go-to ask."
Ooh.
And so my go-to ask now always is share my content.
Okay.
And treat others the way you want to be
treated. Boom.
Because like I truly believe, especially within the conversation of our energetics of content, I truly believe that my content has the ability to move and activate people.
Wow.
And so like if it resonates with you, like share it with someone that you think it would resonate with them. Because like I truly believe that our content can have capabilities to like really shift people and activate people to something that they really want.
Wow. So, and I could see this being one of the biggest podcasts we've had yet. So that's awesome. That's powerful. Well, man, thanks again for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. You're the man. Go follow Nico. All the handles are down below. Go do the breath work. Costs about 9 minutes of your time. So we'll have to.
If you guys want to come to the event, we still have some tickets left. So.
Let's go. Yeah. February. What's the date?
February 2nd.
February 2nd. So February 2nd. I think we won't go live until after the event because we're about 5 weeks out. But get the next one. Get the next one.
Yeah, our plan is to throw 8 this year.
Let's go. I'm gonna have to go too because I've been kind of like plugging a little bit, looking at what you're doing, and then like my wife's like, "How does he make money? What's going on?" I'm curious, right? So you're doing a great job creating curiosity, and then now like I can see there's gonna be a time where like eventually like it's like that seed, that implosion, boom. Oh, here I am. So. And to all our viewers and listeners, we appreciate your time consideration, as it is our intention for you to take things from an episode, apply your business, have more massive success. Big thanks to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and the ask. Share and show kindness to others. So it doesn't take much to just hold the door open and say hello, smile. So until the next one.